Hello, and welcome to a special edition of In Your Face with Aggressively Positive Media. I'm your host, Phoebe, and sitting down with me today is emerging artist Andre Acila.
Hello there.
Hi, welcome. It's fantastic to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, wow. So let's dive right in. All right. So your recent release, Ace, has generated quite the buzz. How has that experience been for you?
So, it has been an honor. I'm very thankful for all of the support I have received on this release. I began producing it last year. I was going through a rough time and I wanted to explore new sounds. I wanted to create an album, an EP that people could relate to. I wanted to tell my story. So I started out with Control. That was the first track, and that is the one which has gotten the most support thus far. And then I built the project around it. I created Elevate and Ashes as well. I did not expect it to be where it is at right now. Having radio play across the world, having Spotify streams from every single continent, it's spectacular. I began producing music back when I was around 13, and I would never have dreamt this. I remember how excited I was to have 100 views on one of my first songs. It was called Rock America Rock. Don't look it up, it's horrible. But the fact that I have received so many streams, so many likes, is just beyond belief. And the fact that I was able to attain this as an independent artist gives me a lot of hope for this industry. It shows that anyone can release music as long as they have a story to tell and the passion to get it told.
Well, it's clear that you definitely have a passion for music. So tell me, what kind of aspirations or goals do you have? Do you see this as a hobby, something you'd like to pursue full time at some point?
Great question. So honestly, I'm a go with the flow kind of person. I've been doing some music for a while, as I already said, and I've received some decent success on certain tracks, and it will depend on where it goes from here. I currently do it as a side hustle because I'm a full-time student, but if I have the opportunity to make this a gig, of course I would take it. I've been dreaming about being a producer and DJ since I was young. I discovered EDM by listening to a dubstep song by Nero, a band from England. They were played on America's Got Talent when I was 11. I thought it was so cool. Then I heard Daft Punk's Tron Legacy soundtrack, and I was like, I need to make this sort of stuff. And it was my dream since that day to get into the industry. And it's just been step by step, taking each day as it comes. I started doing some self-releases on SoundCloud and YouTube, not any streaming services or anything, just free downloads. And then back in 2019, I had a song, Vuria. That's a whole story in and of itself. It's pretty cool. Vuria began because I heard Alan Walker on a stream of Coachella, and I loved his chord progressions. And I wanted to create a project like that. So I created a rough demo, and then I got in the studio with a friend of mine from my undergrad college, Natalie Suarez. And she did an amazing job just recording vocal lines. We did that, got it done, out to the world, first commercial release. And over 1,000 views, almost 100,000 now on YouTube. I could not believe it. I also had it on Apple Music and Spotify. I was starting to gain some traction, and that was when I recognized I can do something with this. I can actually not just post random beats on SoundCloud, but make full tracks, get them out to the world. And through that, I was able to start a duo project with my friend Adrian Jacobs, and we got our first record label deals. We had our Beginnings EP and a couple follow-up singles that were released on labels. So to answer your question, it really depends where life takes me. I'm currently a student, so I'm focusing on education, but if my music keeps on growing, I'm willing to go wherever it leads me.
That's such a good answer, honestly. It really is. So looking back on this project here, what aspects did you enjoy the most? Conversely, what kind of challenges or difficulties did you encounter?
That is another great question. I really love talking about this EP because it means a lot to me. Like I said, it tells a story. So I will just do a little overview about the ACP, talk about my creative journey, the endeavor it took to get this out to the world. So I was just graduated from college. I was going through a rough period in my life, trying to seek employment, and I was dealing with some depression. I know this is a cliche story, but it's out of these cliches when art comes to be. So I was just on my laptop, FL Studio, coming up with rhythms, coming up with beats and some melodies. And then I created this art line for Control. And I knew that is going to be something. So then I built around that. And one of the best things I loved about this project was the cooperative endeavors, all of the collaborations that I had to make this happen. I had Natalie Suarez back. We actually did the vocal recording in my parents' closet. We didn't have the money to book a studio, so I made a little makeshift studio with a box and foam sound protectors around it and a little microphone.
I'm so impressed.
Blankets. Yeah, and we just went one day in the afternoon, recorded it. And for the mixing and mastering, I had a guy all the way down from Brazil who has worked on some Beatport Top 100 hits and has been a part of Universal Music Group, and he helped do all of the engineering things. It's pretty cool how music can bring many different people from different cultures together. I was able to work with someone from a whole other continent. It's pretty cool. So the collaborative efforts like that is definitely a fun thing. And also just letting the emotions out. Just going in my room, pulling up my laptop, and making the melodies. The melodies were what drove this project. And that was one of the most fun parts for me, is just letting my creativity flow, coming up with some lines. And for Ashes, that actually began with the piano. I started on my laptop, just playing the keyboard, and that melody came to my mind. I don't know how it came, it just popped up, that little piano line in the second break, and I built it around that. So the melody composition, the collaboration, that's my favorite part. I will say the challenge was definitely getting it out to the world. Being an up-and-coming artist, being someone without management, it's difficult to work your way around in the industry. So I tried to get it signed to multiple labels. It didn't work out. I tried multiple different engineers and producers for feedback. It just took a lot of work. So it was a hassle for the release. And that was a challenge. If I were to do it again, when I do it again, because I'm about to release another EP with Adrian Jacobs, a duo EP, and it's called All Over the Place, so be on the lookout. For that, I will have more of a set plan for the release. It won't be just some random day I drop it on CD, baby. I'll check all of these different things to prepare. I'll reach out to the promoters beforehand. So the challenge was the release itself. But thankfully, for what I did, it's done well. Over 4,000 streams on Spotify, having radio play in England, in America, nothing to sneeze at. It worked out. So the challenge, I overcame it. Here we are. The fun, I loved and learned a lot from it. This project definitely got me to grow as an artist, because I also, on Control, worked with a guy from No Face Records, which was a former sub-label of Armada Music, Armin van Buren's label. And it's pretty cool to have a professional give me tips. And shout out to Abstract Music Lab, Leo Loretti. He is an amazing producer. He gave me feedback. I would send him this track back and forth over and over again until I had the final draft. A lot of the little ear candy techniques I learned from him. So that was fun, is leveling up my career, leveling up my production skills, learning some things. For example, I learned about adding some drums, some percussions in the background, and automating them with reverb to make it more background than in your face. I learned about layering, so taking multiple sounds and putting them together as a lead. I learned so many techniques I did not know before this. So I know I've been talking a lot. There's just so much I learned, so many
That's the
amazing
point.
opportunities.
So with that being said, next time around, what are you going to do differently as opposed to with all the knowledge that you've gained?
Great question. So I will definitely, as I mentioned before, reach out to some promoters beforehand. I'll give myself a few weeks before the release to get it promoted, get some hype going. I'll reach out with some people in the industry, really focusing on a PR stunt, really focusing on a PR technique, having development as an artist in regard to the management and communications aspect. That I will do. Also, I'll just not put a lot of pressure on. Since one thing as an artist that I've suffered from is lots and lots of pressure. I feel like my song has to be perfect. I go through so many drafts of it, and honestly, I almost lost the love of music through some of these productions. I was told by other artists, hey, this kick is too loud. Or hey, this clap, you need to change the clap. And it got so annoying, and I was just so hard on trying to get it for everybody to love it. And what I've learned is, do it for yourself, do it for the love of music. This is my story to tell, and I know what's best for my music. Constructive criticism, feedback is great, but I don't want to lose my spirit in my music. I don't want it to become someone else's production. And I don't want to weigh myself down. I don't want to be so obsessed with the minuscule details that I don't enjoy the process. Production's all about having fun, being creative, and just loving the experience. And whenever you get so tied up, you can lose that. And for my next project, I don't want to lose the joy and the collaboration, the fun aspects of it. I want to really focus on just getting the music done. Instead of taking like 9 months just to change a few volumes in mixing, set a goal, get it done. Since, yeah, that's a true story. With my song Measure Up with Adrian Jacobs a few years ago, we spent like 3-4 months just on the vocal mixing. I'm very proud of how it turned out, but sometimes you can get a bit carried away.
I can so relate with that. Like you're definitely singing my song, that's for sure. They say that perfection is the enemy of creativity.
Yes.
For sure. So that being said, like, do you have any words of advice for other young aspiring musicians out there just starting their journey, just getting going?
Great question. I would say don't let the industry bring you down. Don't feel intimidation. Just have fun with it, experiment, and do what you want to do. And don't be afraid to try new things. I started out on my iPod Touch doing dubstep beats on a stupid app. Then I eventually went to Big Room House. Now I'm doing melodic techno tech house. Really different genres. This ACP was the first project of mine to be in the genre that it came out as. And that was part of the joy of it, was this was brand new. And not being afraid to do brand new things is great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, being willing to be experimental. Even though I call this melodic tech house, it really doesn't fit into any genres. I have some cinematic orchestration in Control. I have some big room elements with that huge, massive synth drop in the second drop. In Elevate, I took some inspiration from Martin Garrix's song Etram Alive, but I also mixed some arpeggios based on the Tron Legacy soundtrack, cinematic breaks as well. Ashes, I began it as a sort of Camel Fat style deep house. It turned out to be a progressive house song. So keeping yourself open, keeping things broad is definitely where it's at. Don't limit yourself. And be sure to seek advice and build connections. One of the reasons this album, this EP, has gotten so much success is because of the friends I have made. Being able to reach out to fellow DJs and producers to get feedback. That's so valuable. Being willing to talk with promoters, to even share your songs as a promo to get radio stations to play. Putting yourself out there is key. So 1, don't limit yourself. Feel free to experiment. 2, make the connections. Get in touch with people. Build long-lasting friendships where you can learn from each other. That's one reason I love collaboration. When you produce music as yourself, it can get a bit lonely and it can get a bit old, but when you're with other artists, you can learn from them and you can teach them. For example, on my track control, when I was working with the guy from No Face Records, he taught me how to keep things interesting. You can add a ride in the second drop, and not just that, you can pitch it. So what you hear in control in that second drop where the ride, the cymbal slowly but surely goes down in pitch, I learned from him. Learning little techniques like that. And when I worked with someone else, I taught them some techniques. I taught them about Pancake from the Cable Guys. It's a free plugin where you can actually put it on an instrument as an effect where you can have it pan from right to left. I love to do that on percussions because it adds space. It really picks up the spectrum, and stuff like that is critical to our field. Learning from each other. Also getting good gear. I know every producer says this, but the gear makes it. You have to find plugins that you can work with. I really enjoy working with Spire, Silent, and Serum. Those are the 3 synths I currently use. Those were the synths I used in this, and those really upped my game, because before I got all of my plugins, I was working with really basic sounds. But now that I have other tools, I can learn to use those tools to enhance my music. Labs by Spitfire is a free plugin, and that's a plugin I really used in this EP. It's pretty interesting because it goes back to showing you how being experimental is key. Labs is not an EDM plugin. It is not a synthesizer. It is a sample-based instrument. You have pianos, guitars, strings. It's really much an organic, orchestral, and it's mostly used for acoustic or ambient music, sometimes even cinematographers. But what I thought is, I want some orchestral elements in this. I'm going to use this plugin. So I took the string from Labs and I made a basic line. Do, do, do. It elevates, and I built it around that. And it was great. It really worked out, even though it's not something that's typical in this production. So when you look for plugins, think outside of the box. Also get some that may not be typical. Try Labs. Also, try some synths that are new and up and coming. Just don't limit yourselves.
That is amazing advice, honestly. It is so nice to hear an artist talk about not pigeonholing themselves into one single genre, not wanting to be pigeonholed into one single genre, but instead taking a look at the sounds that they like and how they want to combine them to communicate whatever feeling that they're trying to communicate and communicate that message. I love what you said about, how you've networked and how this music has brought you together with so many different people from so many different places. I think that's what I like best about music personally, is that it is a unifier. That,
Yes.
like, I can disagree with so many people about so many things. I may not even understand what you're saying. We may not speak the same language. We may have nothing in common at all. But man, we might think that that beat is sick. And now we got something we can build on.
Exactly. That's what the EDM community is all about. It's plur, peace, love, unity, respect. And that's what we need to go back to. Another thing I will tell young artists, don't be discouraged. Whenever I was releasing this to Spotify playlists, I was receiving so much rejection. But then, out of the blue, a person took it up and it got playlisted. And after that first playlist, everyone else started to get their hands on this record. Also, whenever I...
Stronger? Sorry, I said, do you feel like that maybe some of that rejection helped you get to where you wanted to go, or maybe helped to further you?
Yes. The rejection definitely strengthened me, since I wanted to prove the haters wrong. I wanted to show that I can do this, and you may say no, but others out there will like it. And it worked out. And in regard to sending it out to DJs, I sent music to DJs. Some didn't respond, but then others did. The playlisting, I'm over 27 playlists added now. And it just takes persistence. Keeping on sending the records, keeping on making the music, getting in touch with people. That's key. When someone says no, don't just quit. Keep at it. I worked with an artist that originally really didn't like my music, but then it worked out. We got together. I sent a song many, many years ago to a DJ, and it wasn't the best song. The DJ didn't play it, but now the DJ's playing this EP. It just takes time and patience. Patience is key. I'm very bad at patience. Everyone who knows me will tell you I'm one of the most impatient people, but I'm learning that is what you need here. Is don't be discouraged, be patient, and keep going at it. You will get there eventually. And just feel free to work with others, ask questions, and learn. Learning is what got me to this point, because I had the honor of doing a teen program called Full Sail Labs back in 2016.
Yeah.
And that is where I really learned the skills. Before that, I was just pressing buttons. And being with a DJ who was also a teacher helped me learn what really is synthesis, what really is EQ or reverb. I got to actually learn the tools that I needed. And learning helped me make the music I'm making now. It's something that doesn't happen overnight. You have to practice at it, have to work at it, and learn from it. And the learning is great. You don't even have to go to a special school for it. There are YouTube tutorials that you can watch. There are books you can order off Amazon. One great thing about being in the EDM community this day and age is so many different resources out there, so much information to discover and take advantage of it.
That's wonderful. I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to see where your passion for music takes you and how your career unfolds. Like, it's really wonderful to see. I love catching artists at this particular moment in time. And I love your excitement. You have genuine excitement about this.
Why, thank you. That's one of the reasons that I got into this to begin with, the thing to do with the story. I had that song because I was mixing bass house vibes with orchestral elements, and I just had it on the side. I was like, why not add it as a bonus track? I want people to have a little something extra. The 3 songs tell the story, but this is something that's more rave-oriented, more bang in your head to, more club vibes. It's something to bring about the joy, the conclusion of the EP. You go through that story, but then here's a bonus track. Here's something to get your minds off of this complex journey.
I love that. It's like a palate cleanse.
Yes, exactly. That's how it was. And what I love about that palette cleanse, what I love about Initiate, is this one sound that I included. It's hilarious because it only lasts a few seconds, but I swear it makes the song. In the second break and build up, there is a synth arc that goes and really builds up the tension. It starts really low with the filter, and then the cutoff slowly rises and it grows. Even being surrounded with the choir that was included, it's a great counterpoint. And that brings the energy. It's really quick, but it's one of my favorite elements off the CP. I used Revealed Sound Spire to make it. It was pretty fun. But if I were to say what is my favorite sound from the whole EP, one of the favorite synths that I used, it's definitely that second drop of Control. The first drop of Control is more laid back, typical tech house with the rolling bass line and the percussion, really groove oriented. But then, second drop, complete 180, totally different style. It is that pumping pluck. It is inspired from some of the old big room songs I was listening to. Simplicity is key, something to get the hype going. That's my favorite part. But overall, I will say the EP tells a story. It's all about overcoming obstacles, coming out stronger, taking back control. The 3 songs tell that story. The 4th is a little wrap up just to sit back and learn from this. I really hope that this EP inspires people. One of my dreams as an artist is to reach out to people from various walks of life, going to different communities and having them feel a bit better. I want to make the world a better place through my music. I want it to inspire others. I love it. I am excited about this. I even got into EDM before I could even go to clubs or raves. I mean, I was so sad when I was a kid that I couldn't see my favorite DJs perform. I didn't get to go to an event until 2021. I went to a pool party, and that's where I discovered Tech House. Because before that, I was fully progressive and big room. But then there was a group called Yokai from the Orlando area opening up for Camel Fat, and they had such amazing disco-esque grooves. I was like, I need to figure what this is. And then I found out it's Tech House, and that's what got me into the genre, was going out to events, that excitement to listen to new music. That's another thing I can suggest to younger artists, is go to events if you're able to. If not, watch videos of them on YouTube. Discover and listen to new music. Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah.
I do want to give a little summary about this EP, a little description of what it means, if you don't mind.
No, that's I would love that. Thank you.
So, like I mentioned earlier, this was all about telling a story. And I actually call it ACE because that is the first letter of the 3 main songs. You have Ashes, Control, and Elevate. And it is in an order. Each song is where it's at in the track list for a reason. It's a story about overcoming challenges and being a better person. Control is about taking control of the problems you've had. But let's go back to the beginning. Ashes. Ashes is all about experiencing the doubt. You're alone in ashes, like the lyrics say, and you are just struggling with your identity, with depression, or whatever you might be going through. You are trying to work things out. Ashes are all you can see. You feel like all is lost. But then control comes. And that's when you feel the resolve to feel better, to get help, to get back stronger. Control is all about taking back control, like the lyrics say. And then elevate is what happens when you finally take control. You elevate to a higher consciousness. You improve. You reach new levels. You learn from the struggles you went through. So it really is a story of overcoming. And me going through things helped give me this idea about learning from your struggles, growing from them. And you might be wondering, what's that fourth song doing there? Why is there Initiate? Well, Initiate really does not have any.
Well, that first of all, I want to say thank you so much. It is wonderful also to hear that you're branching out. You're not limiting yourself. It's so exciting, honestly. It's really, really exciting. I'm so excited for what your future is holding for you.
Thank you.
And where this is going to go. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on here and taking the time to really converse with me and to put this out there and put yourself all, on the line and really give us an inside look into not only what you've done in production and, you've also demonstrated the wonderful, real handle on the knowledge that you have about both music and the types of music and what you've drawn from. You have a really clear understanding, and it's been delightful to hear that. Delightful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's delightful and refreshing to hear somebody really talk about their music and to talk about what went into it and what made it and what and not just the technical parts or not just but all of it, the whole package. And so I really want to thank you for taking the time and for really putting that out there. That means a lot. Thank you.
No worries whatsoever. I will say, I love how you mentioned not just the technical, not just the practical. That's what I feel we need. We need a holistic approach towards music. Take the creativity, take the technical, mix it together. We need to be open. Look at music through many different lenses. And I really respect what you do because you are taking part of that. I feel honored of being on this show. This is the first interview I've ever done. And I just really appreciate the platform. Not many underground up-and-coming artists get a platform, so having a place where we can share our stories is key. I started out, like I said, around 11, 12, 13 years old, and I really struggled trying to make the connections. I made the music, but I really didn't have the platform to share because I'm not part of some big record label. I'm not some superstar. I'm just some 24-year-old right now, living life, making music. And I really wanted to have a place where I could share this EP, share my thoughts on it, give advice to others. And it's amazing what you do to allow us that. And I appreciate it.
That's incredibly kind words. Thank you. Thank you so much. Honestly, I appreciate you. And I am honored to have you and to have this be your first interview. So I appreciate that. I know it takes a lot of bravery to not just make what you make and to put it out there and to have it dissected and chopped apart by so many people. It's like you have this little baby and you're like, here you go, world. What do you think? And they're like, hey,
That is exactly what it is. And that relates back to my advice of don't be discouraged. Is you do view this as your baby, but you need to remember music is subjective. And everyone has their own opinions, but as long as you're happy with what you produce, that's good. And getting it out there, you are opening yourself up to the world. You're becoming vulnerable, which is a brave thing. Releasing music is a brave thing.
It's incredibly brave. I've always... every time that I speak about an artist, I just think about every time they go out there to perform, every time they make a mix, every time that they, drop a new beat or drop a new EP or track, that they literally are just putting their hearts on the line. And I don't know if you've seen people lately, but they can be unkind at times.
That is true, unfortunately.
And, I'm always amazed with the bravery that artists have. I'm like, and they go back for it, and they give you more.
Yeah.
And they go back for it. It's just, that's so nice to see. To as I said, I'm amazed. I know that there's a million ways we all put ourselves out there every day, but at the same point in time, this is, I would cry. I'd be like, don't talk about it. I don't even know if you want to look at my little track. It's my little track, I can see myself being like that very easily. So I'm always amazed by the bravery and the courage that it takes to take something that you poured your heart and your soul and your emotions into that may have been very cathartic for you, it sounds like, and to put it out there for other people to not only listen, but judge.
Of course. So
and that takes a lot.
Yeah, you're absolutely right that this isn't the best times on this planet. And that's one of the reasons I did feel like putting this out, because I was unsure whether to just hold the tracks for myself, labels rejected, do I just put it aside, or do I release? But I thought now's a good time to tell a story to get others to listen. Like I said, I want to inspire others. I want people to enjoy the music. I want people to take time off of their days, forget about their worries, and just bang to my tracks. And the mixes, you're absolutely right. It's not just tracks, but even working in mixing is an incredible skill. I, of course, worked with Graveyard Radio to do a mix for this EP, like a little presentation of it. Mixing this EP with some of my older tracks, with some other people's tracks, some underground, some famous, just to show the world what I am as a DJ. And I'm pretty new to the DJing, making mixes sort of stuff, so that was an honor. And it is the holistic nature of this career. You produce your tracks, you create mixes, you have merch out, you tour, so many things. I haven't toured yet, but hopefully someday.
And I look forward to it. Well, you guys, everyone, you can find their tracks, their newest AP Ace, streaming on all major platforms. Is that correct?
Yes. So the ACP is available on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, all platforms. I can send the links so the people can click the links. Also, my socials, you can follow at DJ Andre Acila is the handle. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, pretty much everywhere but TikTok.
Right on. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I know, make sure that you guys go follow them on socials. Get onto the just your Spotify and to whatever streaming platform you have. Go listen to it. Go follow. Go download. Support our artists out here that are working hard and putting their heart and soul on the line for you guys. Go support. Go follow. And make sure that you guys head over to the Graveyard Radio SoundCloud and check out their new mix as well. And I just want to say thank you once again for taking the time out of your extremely busy day to come and hang out with me this evening.
No problem at all. Thank you for doing this. And I will say, don't just check out my music, but share it. One of the things about being an underground independent artist is word of mouth. So the reason I've been where I'm at now is because of friends sharing it with friends, artists sharing it with other artists. So I encourage you, if you like the music, share it to a family member or a friend or two. Tell others. And
don't be afraid to lock your passengers in your car and say, too bad it's my radio, and just turn on this.
Exactly.
Wonderful tracks and say, shh, I'm driving, it's my radio, no touching.
Exactly. When you're the driver,
share music.
Yes.
Your friends deserve music, and they deserve to hear really good music.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I really appreciate this interview. I'm excited for what's to come. Maybe I'll be back on the show for the follow-up EP.
I'd love that.
It's almost ready, honestly. The songs are produced. Now it's just getting the release in order. It's going to be called All Over the Place. Because
that title as well.
It's called that because the songs are all over the place. We have a tropical house song. We have a dubstep song. We have a techno song, a big room song, many different genres. It's all over the place.
I love it.
Yes, but it reflects what I already said of not being focused on one genre. We experimented with this new project, and we wanted to show all these different styles. We wanted to show our techniques from across the genre.
Well, this is wonderful. And again, thank you, Andre. This has been so much fun. Big ups to Trinidad Tracks for setting up this interview and all of their continued support from my heart. And of course, all the love to Spike at Graveyard Radio and Wax Radio Indie. Quite literally, Spike, you are the only reason I get to do cool things like this. So thank you so much. Guys, that is going to wrap up this very special edition of In Your Face with Aggressively Positive Media and Graveyard Radio. I want to thank each and every one of you who has listened out there. And remember, you have one life. Make it count, make it positive, and make it yours.